Merci. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Monsieur Sanchez-Sorondo, for inviting me and Caritas Internationalis to this third Ethics in Action. This morning I flew back from Amman, Jordan, where these days we had a regional conference of the 15 Caritases of the Middle East and North Africa region. The major theme of discussion was partnership, but it was very much focused on the big reality that they live in this region, which is people on the move. So it's a practice, it's a reality, migrants and refugees, a reality of everywhere and every day in the world. You know, the Caritas family brings together 165 national organizations that are present almost everywhere in the world, and every Caritas organization is confronted or is working on with people on the move, whether internally displaced or people coming through or reaching the place. It's a daily practice, and it has become one of the priorities of the Caritas Confederation in its present strategic framework, which is leading us to launch a global campaign on migrations, which will start at the end of September this year. We'll come back to it a little later. I will give you a few examples of what people organizing themselves with migrants and refugees can do. I must witness here that in spite of what we hear in the media and the growing populism and xenophobia, and in spite of obvious difficulties, which we should not deny, we see an amazing solidarity on the ground to help migrants and refugees. And we want to change the narrative, or contribute to change the narrative, by showcasing positive examples of solidarity and ways to make welcoming societies and integration a success. We just start here a small story. I met the French Prime Minister last year. There was a big issue in Calais. Everybody will know about the number of people trying to go over to England from France and being stuck in Calais. And Caritas France there brought the government to court because of the lack of protection that the government was not giving to the people there. I met the Home Minister, Minister of Interior, and his argument was that if we do welcome those people, then the extreme right will win. And so they were implementing extreme right policy, which has not proved very good. As you've seen, the elections in France have brought forward the extreme right on the second round, and with the risk that it would go through. Some ideas of good practice of solidarity, welcoming of migrants in Europe. Be careful, don't get stuck. That's the title of a strategy of Caritas in Biscay, in Spain, Basque country. It has been active since 2012 to fight stereotypes against migrants. It aims to reflect on the roles that stereotypes, prejudices, and discriminatory attitudes play, and to raise understanding as to how they are unconsciously incorporated in people's daily lives. They organize awareness-raising sessions and targeted training addressed to migrants, but also to residents. That's among their main activities. The added value is linked to the involvement of both residents, local people, and migrants in these awareness initiatives, and to the possibility of relying on the diocesan Caritas capillary structure. You know, it's in the villages and parishes within the territory with some success. Another interesting initiative in France, in one of the most popular suburban dioceses, northeast of Paris, is to organize holidays for migrants' families together with French resident family to promote the creation of social links between migrants and receiving community families through a joint one-week holiday in Normandy. It's easier to establish social links during vacation time when people are in relaxed setting. It also gives relief to migrants' family who normally cannot afford holidays. So, another example, again in Spain, in Burgos, the Mutual Understanding and Christian-Muslim Dialogue Group was established in Burgos, where 16% of the population is Muslim. It comprises both Catholics and Muslims. It meets regularly to foster dialogue, deepen mutual understanding, and enable a space for discussion and reflection about the writings on Islam in Europe, discussing what is being written about Islam in Europe. Learning more about the Muslim religion and fostering dialogue have proven to break down some long-held fears and stereotypes. On improving access to basic rights and services, special housing for women and mothers seeking asylum, Caritas in Louvrange in Belgium. This project offers a home to vulnerable women and asylum seekers. These women with their children are hosted in multiple unit housing complex where they live in individual apartments but have common life. This allows them the chance to enjoy a general degree of privacy, safety, and responsibility. It also enables a multidisciplinary team to be in close proximity and provide quick support when needed. This initiative focuses on vulnerable women and empowers them to gradually move out of the situation of isolation in which they find themselves, regaining their self-confidence, developing social ties, which help them to become autonomous. In Italy, Caritas has started a program called A Refugee at My Home. It's implemented throughout Italy by Diocesan Caritas Network. It offers opportunity for Italian families to open their homes and share their lives with migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers for 6 to 9 months. The aim of the project is twofold. It helps migrants to gain a greater autonomy through living with resident families, and on the other side, it gives families from the receiving community the opportunity to enjoy an experience of solidarity and cultural sharing with people from different countries. Since 2013, about 500 people, both asylum seekers and refugees, have been received and hosted with Italian families. On another frame, facilitating access to resources and participation. An example of Caritas in Vienna, in Austria, which is a hotel, Magda's Hotel. It has been designed to be a role model in combating poverty by creating new jobs for refugees. So they employ refugees. It is run by refugees, but also experienced hotel staff, and it offers guests from around the world a smart, urban, and multicultural home with an added social value. It's a social business. Its focus is not on making profit, but societal benefit and social inclusion. It is run now by 20 migrants from 16 different countries, and it has won wide public attention and awards for its innovative character. In the field of fighting trafficking in human beings, which has been said a lot today, is part of what happens to the people on the move when they are not protected. A massive phenomenon. A number of years ago, Caritas, with other Christian organizations, started a network which is called Christian Organizations Against Trafficking Network, COTNET. There are now more than 30 Christian organizations worldwide engaged in combating human trafficking. In this field, we do act in a number of fields. Prevention and awareness raising with risk groups, educators and professionals, as well as with the general public. To assistance to trafficked people by providing secure shelter, social, medical, psychological, and legal assistance, as well as vocational training. 3, advocacy, so that appropriate legislation is in place in the countries concerned. And 4, networking. There are many initiatives in this field, and Monsieur Sanchez-Sorondo referred to the initiatives that the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences has been taking over the last years. After these few examples, which are all European, but there are so many worldwide, I would like to introduce to you this Caritas migration campaign, which will start in September. Purpose is to change the narrative and to deepen our understanding that we are one human family. The campaign that we're going to launch is more of an educational campaign than an advocacy campaign, even if there will be an advocacy side to it. And the motto which has been chosen is "Share the Journey." It will be an opportunity to increase understanding about why migrants undertake their journeys, to bust myths, to understand who migrants really are, and also who we are as communities and as a global family by increasing empathy and understanding. The goal of the campaign is about encounter, promoting the culture of encounter by increasing spaces and opportunities for migrants and local communities to meet and have an exchange. We do hope that this campaign will create a new narrative and at least contribute to it and foster positive dialogue around migration issues. I would like to express 2 challenges that I see. The challenges at interpersonal level with regard to migration seem to be connected to perceptions, less to facts, to realities. In many countries, I have seen that those who are most afraid of migrants have rarely, if not never, met or encountered a migrant. While at the same time, our societies are very mixed. You have television moderators who were born in other countries or of 2nd or 3rd generation, and these people are welcome. But those who are arriving, who are themselves very often very fearful of what is going to happen to them and have been suffering so much, meet adversity. I think last year, 2 years ago, the Pontifical Academy for Social Sciences had organized a meeting with big city mayors, and I remember the conclusions was very positive about the fact that many mayors of major cities where the reception of refugees and migrants is concretely happening were open and creative to receive migrants within their possibilities and involving the local population. So mayors may be very good actors when the national governments, for other reasons, are not. Another challenge that I see is that many of those who arrive in Europe are Muslims, and so we are going to have more Muslim neighbors. How to deal with them? I would like here to quote Anna Rollins, a theologian, an English theologian, who said in a recent meeting of Caritas Europa in Brussels, and I quote, "In Europe, we have imagined that faith's main dialogue partner is secularism, and we have trained ourselves to negotiate this dialogue. We now need to train ourselves for a different kind of faith dialogue with Islam. The Muslim population of Europe currently stands at about 7%, but by the end of this century, it is expected to rise to about 25%. Much of the public rhetoric is about Islam as a threat to Christian Europe. This is a huge, complex theme. We may wonder whether Europe itself and European Christianity will be transformed by the presence of Islam. And the answer is yes, it will. For some, this is worrying, but for others, it does offer possibilities that we might learn something about articulating our values as something distinctive. This challenge has to be seen positively and maybe a gift as much as a difficulty for us. The New York Declaration of the Migrant and Refugee Summit last year and the proposal for the 2 global compacts on which we are working now, as well as the 2030 agenda, present a huge opportunity to make a change in people's lives who are forced to move. Here we are grateful for the lead of Pope Francis, for his perseverance to be the voice of that change. And we know that we are going to make that change a reality, provided we join forces. I think the initiatives taken by the Migrant and Refugee section will help us a lot to move ahead in this way. In conclusion, let us not repeat the dramatic wording and scenarios of populists which are carried by the media. There is no crisis to our view, but there is the one we are not able to solve in spite of the long experience of humanity that we have with human mobility. So the crisis is more of a crisis of solidarity. Let us change the narrative of migration. Migration contributes to host societies and the communities of origin through knowledge transfers and its diasporas. It's better to speak about these positive examples than about the negatives. Let's challenge our communities and parishes to dig deeper into their roots, because they are also composed of migrants and where they come from. Let's engage in a deeper dialogue of life between different faiths. Our faith unites us on this issue. Let's use the current political opportunities to speak with one voice, including the voice of migrants and refugees. I don't know, among us probably we are all somehow migrants and refugees. You are one. Let's foster the culture of encounter, central to our view. And let's not be afraid of the change it means for humanity, as it is the very nature of humanity which grew through migration. We are one human family, and all the more in this globalized world. The way, and this will be my last idea sharing, the way we welcome migrants is the barometer of our humanity. Thank you.